with abortion now fading as a top concern in the months since the Dobbs decision came down. Have Democrats and other pro-choice voters done enough to keep it top of mind? 5 states now are voting on abortion ballot measures, including in Michigan, where the issue is front and center in the governor's race.
The governor's decision to support abortion rights is huge on my mind as a woman, as a mom, as a sister, it's very important to me that we have our own choices to make. It's our body, it's our choice.
We are supporting Tudor Dixon based on her education stance and her fight for families and children and babies in this country.
Joining me now are Cecile Richards, co-chair of Democratic-aligned group American Bridge and former Planned Parenthood president, and Tom Bonier, Democratic strategist and CEO of Target Smart. So, Tom, you saw a spike in women registering to vote after that Supreme Court ruling last summer, and in battleground states where women account for a larger portion of the early vote. What's happened since?
Well, like you said, we saw that record-setting surge, this unprecedented surge of women registering to vote, voting not only in Kansas, but in special elections where Democrats won, New York 19, Alaska. The big question has been, will we see that same surge in women turning out in this election? And so, as you've noted, as you've been talking about, over 40 million people have voted already. And those states you just showed, we're seeing a bigger gender gap among the early vote than we did at this same point in 2020. So it's an early sign. Of course, it's all dependent on what is happening right now today, but it's an early sign that that intensity is carrying through Election Day.
And the intensity, though, how do we interpret it, Cecile? Because the economy, cost of living, overtook abortion as a top issue. So what do you think is driving suburban women, for instance, in those collar counties outside of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh?
Sure. Well, first, I want to say thanks to Tom, because he has really been keeping us up to date on everything that's happened in the early vote and the surge, of course, that we've seen of women registering to vote after the Dobbs decision, particularly young women who are critically important and overwhelmingly supportive of Democrats. I'm exactly where Tom is on this. We are seeing right now about 58% of the Democratic vote is women. That's consistent gender gap that we saw in the last 2 cycles. And interesting, Andrea, even though, of course, we know that the economy and inflation are important motivating issues, for Democratic women voters, still the #1 issue that they cite as a reason to go vote in this election is the issue of freedom to make their own decisions about pregnancy. The Dobbs decision and the extremism of the Republican Party is going to be a huge motivator this midterm election. I also think it's going to have a huge effect in the upcoming presidential election as well. This extremism by the Republican Party is not going to age well with women voters.
And Tom, what about the election deniers? Because they are, we were talking about with Michael Beschloss, they are on the ballot in 45 states in key races.
Yeah, as Cecile said, she hit the nail right on the head. It's about Republican extremism. The reason why this election is close, Republicans historically should be running away with this. We shouldn't be having this conversation at this moment. We know the history of midterm elections. The reason why it is so close, and you see polls as a sort of choose your own adventure, some polls showing Democrats up 5, some showing Republicans up 5. It's because of that intensity and engagement, the Democratic base that no one expected. And it's all about Republican extremism, whether that is the Dobbs decision, whether that's January 6th, as you say, the election deniers. That's motivating Democratic voters who generally wouldn't participate in this midterm election to come out and vote.
And Cecile, let's talk about Dr. Jill Biden. She has been everywhere, campaigning relentlessly to try to boost vulnerable Democrats, especially in House seats, including a lot of places that Joe Biden has not been able to go.
It's wonderful to see the First Lady on the trail. She is such a fabulous leader and spokesperson. And, it's interesting, Andrea, I will say, and I just got back off the road from several states. Women everywhere are, as always, fueling the Democratic machine. They are out on the doors knocking. They are running phone banks. They are running text banks. And so I feel like what I've seen and sort of what we're seeing from these photographs with Dr. Biden is that women are on fire in this election cycle. They are highly motivated. They're turning out to vote. Of course, we still have a lot of votes to turn in on election day, but I think that women are going to tell the story, and especially in some of these close races.
Well, Cecile Richards, Tom Bonier, thanks to both of you.